What's up, everyone? This is Kronos, aka Adam, back with my AEW Full Gear review, results, reaction, whatever you want to call it. I am exhausted. It's been a very long week, as I'm sure for all of us. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. Man, that was a great pay-per-view. What an absolute fantastic pay-per-view. And, there were a lot of matches, so you had the feeling that it was going to go long, but honestly, there wasn't really a bad match on the card. Some better than others, obviously, but damn, it was just an absolute fantastic pay-per-view. So I did my preview and predictions. I did the confident point scale. So basically, just as a recap, what confidence points are, you assign your matches. There were 9 matches, so 1 through 9, 1 being the least confident, 9 being the most confident. If the result happens in the one that you predicted, you take those points, add to your score, and so on and so forth. And then I also do my shoot and kayfabe prediction. Shoot is what I want to win, or who I think is going to win. Kayfabe is who I want to win. Sometimes they're aligned, sometimes they're not. So I only missed one match the entire night, and it was one of my ones I wasn't really sure about, so it wasn't a lot of confidence points on. But everything else I got. Some of my kayfabe picks were a little off, but that's just because I was picking with my heart, not my head. But yeah, so surprisingly, but even if I predicted those matches, they were just fantastic. So I'm gonna go through each one of them as quickly as possible. I'm also just so you know, also able to get all my stuff up on audio. Usually takes about a day for Apple Podcasts to get up, but everything else for Podomatic goes right up. And I usually put a link in a reply to my initial tweets where I put in the YouTube video. So check me out on Twitter, and then you can find me there if you prefer listening on the audio. With that being said, okay, so let us go first. So we're in the buy-in, which is the pre-show, so we get an MJ interview. No one gets to call him soft. Don't get it twisted. Don't be fooled by the suits and the money. If Mox cheated when he was when MJF was in the inner circle, he probably would have been champ because he wouldn't have gotten away with it. That's part of the reason why he wants to join a faction and then join the best faction, the inner circle, according to him. So he also answers for Wardlow that he would fit in well with the inner circle, and obviously if Hager just stops looking at him all weird. So we get our one and only match of the buy-in, Allison Kay versus Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's title. Serena Deeb being the champion who won it essentially, I think, 11 days ago off of Thunder Rosa. Allison Kay recently parted ways with NWA to become a free agent, so I had predicted. So my predictions for this match were both shooting kayfabe for Serena Deeb. I had 9 points of confidence on it. So because of the fact that it just made no sense for Allison Kay to win after the championship of a promotion she just left to pursue other opportunities. So let's go real quick through it. So great chain wrestling to start. Serena looking for the Serenity Lock. Kay counters. Serena fights out of an octopus. Kay with the sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. We get a swinging neck breaker into a Hangman's neck breaker by Serena for a 2 count. Kay hits the Dominator, which is she calls the AK-47. Her finishing move, Serena rolls out of the ring, very smart. Serena then does a dragon screw in the ropes when Kay tries to come back into the ring. Hits a modified pile driver. I think it's kind of like it looked kind of like more a pedigree, but Allison Kay's foot was in the ropes. Eventually, she pulls him into the middle of the ring for the Serenity Lock for the win. As she's celebrating, Thunder Rosa arrives. They go face to face. Fantastic match. Great showing for Allison Kay. I assume this is kind of like an audition for her. Whether or not she gets signed, I don't know, but I hope she does. But once again, this goes to the fact that NWA Women's Championship looks like it's gotten more love on AEW programming than the AEW Women's title. Like that stare down between Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb, I already could picture and understand the entire storyline between the two of them, and not so much Sheeta and Nyla Rose. So that's something they really need to get their stuff together. So Kingston's there with his family, just deadpan staring into the camera. So Alex Abraham Mendez asks Bunny Blade Butcher if he can make Mox say "I quit." Of course, Ali goes off on him saying, "Of course he can." The Lucha Brothers answers in Spanish because I don't speak Spanish. Eddie's asked what's more important, the title or making Mox say "I quit." obviously the title is more important to Eddie, saying that that's the only thing that matters. He doesn't care about Archer waiting in the wings either, or Pac, so he names drops those two. So then we get to our main card. So we find out also Tully's been barred from ringside for the tag team title match. So we get our first match of the Eliminator finals. So we get Kenny versus Hangman. Great way to start it out. I was not expecting that to happen. For my predictions there, I had shoot Kenny, kayfabe Kenny, and I had 2 points of confidence on that just because I didn't know where it was going to go. Kenny was super confident on Dynamite. But this match did not disappoint. Don Callis on commentary, even in his lower third, saying that he's Impact Executive VP. So that was interesting. Apparently he was asked by Kenny, because he's obviously got that relationship with Kenny for so long, to be in the ring, to be there at ringside on commentary. So we get another great intro by Justin Roberts. He's even pointing out like the differences between him and Hangman, where Kenny was better. The cleaner girl's in like 80s workout gear. So Kenny attempts to shake his hand. Hangman says, nuh-uh. So they know each other so well. They're going back and forth, counter to counter. Chop fest, which was brutal. We get a Rise of the Terminator countered with a big boot by Hangman. Fall away slam, and then the kip up by Page. We get a superplex from the middle rope by Page for a 2 count. Get another chop fest on the outside. Kenny counters a whip into the barricade with a moonsault off the railing. That was cool. Because he was able to do that. Kataro Crusher in the ring for a 2 count. Hits the You Can't Escape. Kenny looks like he tweaked his knee a little bit there, but I don't know if that was, shoot or kayfabe in there, but it didn't seem like it affected him the rest of the match. He eventually does hit the Rise of the Terminator, Tope con Hilo. Goes for a one-winged angel attempt. Goes for a couple of them, isn't able to hit it. Buckshot's countered with a flush V-trigger. We get a pop-up powerbomb on the ramp by Page. And then a pop-up sit-out powerbomb in the ring by Page for a 2 count. Tiger Driver 98 by Kenny for a 2 count. They're both missing German suplexes, like the other flips out of it, and then they're just hitting rolling forearms on each other in consecutive ways. Look really, really great sequence there. We get a Snapdragon no-sold by Hangman. Hits the Deadeye for a 2 count. Another Dragon Screw in the ropes by Kenny. Hits a V-trigger. Then Page goes for the buckshot. Misses it. Then Kenny goes for 2 V-triggers, misses those, and then finally gets Kenny gets Page up in the one-winged angel, but you could see he's Hangman is fighting it off as best as he can. He's trying. Eventually Kenny gets that grip in, drops the one-winged angel for the 1, 2, 3. Kenny Omega is now the Eliminator Final Tournament champ. He will now face the winner of the title match. He gets the next crack at it. We then get fantastic match to go next. Orange Cassidy versus John Silver, a nice palate cleanser, because you knew this was going to be good, but also you knew that it wasn't going to be as like intense, serious in that kind of in the Hangman Page sense. So Silver's like, don't do it. The hands in the pockets. It was really funny. He's doing the sweet chin music. Orange Cassidy's like, it doesn't even hurt. Eventually, Silver slams him on the ground and then puts his hands in Orange Cassidy's pockets, rips the pockets off. I forgot to turn that off. And of course, damn it. I was on a roll and I forgot. And what is it? I don't care what this is. Where was I? Wait for the lighting to get better. Okay. So he pulls the pockets out, puts them in his mouth like he's going to eat them. Silver's tossing Cassidy around. He's so super strong. He's so compact. A Tilt-A-Whirl DDT by Cassidy countered into a brain buster for a 2 count. He muscled him up. Looked great. We get a diving crossbody and then a Tilt-A-Whirl DDT finally does connect for Cassidy for the 2 count. Cassidy's up on the turnbuckle, and then Silver grabs him, one arm bench presses him, throws him onto the ropes, then hits the torture rack spin but they put it into a Rana for a counter by Cassidy, hits the Michinoku driver for a 2 count. Eventually Cassidy hits a Stun Dog Millionaire, and then Silver does hit his spinning Blue Thunder Bomb, but he calls it the Spin Doctor for the 2 count. I love that move. Silver tries to go for an ode to Brody Lee with the going for the mustache and then going for the discus lariat, misses that. Orange Cassidy hits the orange punch, then the beach break for the win. Best friends come out to celebrate. Got to give the people what they want, so we get the hug and the big pan out. Next, it was just like wall-to-wall matches that you were like, I gotta watch. So we get the TNT title, Cody versus Darby. Darby comes out to the car that's like says the face of TNT, smashes the windshield with his skateboard. Nightmare Family's out with Cody, so we get the Gun Club and Lee Johnson are part of, I guess, the Nightmare Family. I didn't know Lee Johnson was technically, maybe I did. I think I did actually, because I think I congratulated him on Twitter about that. Justin Roberts does use Cody's last name, so he's now Cody Rhodes, which is interesting because I was under the impression that he wasn't. We get Mike Chioda as the ref for this one. Darby has to keep moving with Cody's size and power advantage. Cody takes an offered hand and turned it into what's his name? I'm sorry. Darby, because Cody extends his hand to help him up, he takes the hand and turns it into a pinning attempt. We get a backflip and a dive through the ropes. So he does like one of those like Aleister Black does, like off the middle rope, hits the backflip. So then Cody turns his back and then he hits just a running dive, just smashes Cody right into the barricade. So then the biggest thing now was Cody was going after the arm of Darby Allin, puts him in a hammerlock and then slams him onto the ramp, which looked rough. He does the shard-on scissors to Darby's injured arm, puts Darby in the rings of Saturn. Darby with the toe on the rope. We get an avalanche shoulder breaker by Cody. I mean, this guy was just, the way Darby Allin just takes just that kind of beating is just crazy. So then we get, let's see here. So a moonsault by Cody misses, Stinger Splash misses, Darby hits a code red for a 2 count, a super kick and a crossroads attempt by Cody. Goes into the middle exposed turnbuckle. We get an avalanche crossroads, which was fucking sick. Looks so good, because sometimes the crossroads can not come off well, but an avalanche one has the potential to be 1, dangerous, and 2, look awful, and he hit it flush. But the best part was that Darby rolls all the way to the other side, so when Cody goes for the pin, Darby's arm is underneath the ropes as opposed to him grabbing the ropes, so it sells it better as opposed to him just being able to, like, you're supposed to be knocked out from that. So obviously Cody's getting frustrated. Arn's telling Darby to stay down on the outside from a move. He gets up, just beats the count. We get a bunch of slams and a gorilla press slam by Cody for a 2 count. Cody kicks out of the Last Supper, which is Darby's special pinning attempt, which I haven't seen anyone kick out yet. He hits a stun dog, then goes for a coffin drop, but it's only hits a 2 count, so the coffin drop is one of barely anyone kicks out of that. Also only for a 2 count. We get a crossroads attempt, and then a bunch of pinning combos back and forth. Eventually, Darby gets the win with a roll-up. Cody is just absolutely stunned. He's pissed off. You can tell it in his face. So he grabs the title, says to cut the music, and goes over to Darby on one knee, presents the title to him like a changing of the guard. This was a little emotional because you could see it in Darby's face. He was, as emo as Darby is, he's gone through so much in his life. I think he's currently going through a divorce right now. And just everything he's done from where he's been to where he is now, you could just see all the emotions on his face. Cody, like doing the right thing, because there's so often that Cody's going to put himself over. And this was not one of those times. This was his first title in AEW. He's had attempts before. But yeah, I was super happy for him. In this one, I had Cody as my shoot, but I did have Darby as my kayfabe because I was hoping that he won, but I just didn't think that Cody would do it. I had 3 points of confidence on that one. Obviously didn't get it. But in all the emotion, Taz comes out, act like you've been there before, let me get a barf bag, blah, blah, blah. Cage and Stark come out, they attack them both. Then they both kind of like fight a little bit over the TNT title. Taz grabs it. It's like, no, don't worry about that. Just beat the shit out of them. So Cage carries Darby all the way to the outside, throws him through a set piece. Cody tries to help, but gets beat up as well. They try to slam Darby's arm in a car door, but Will Hobbs eventually comes out there to make the save. That took a little longer than I expected for Hobbs to get out there, but either way. Then we get a backstage interview with Natural Nightmares. QT calls out Allie for everything she did. He's all right on the mic. And then Dustin says he wants a bunkhouse match this Wednesday on Dynamite with Butcher and the Blade. I don't know what a bunkhouse match is, so there you go. Also, we'll get on Dynamite Penta versus Phoenix 2, Ty Conti versus Red Velvet. I do like this, that they're, they're also hyping up Dynamite. They're letting you know, like, hey, like, we have a TV show too. Like, these are matches that are happening, which you rarely ever see on a WWE pay-per-view. They never hype the next show because they just assume you're going to watch it. So, we get the AEW Women's title, Nyla versus Shida. So we have here, what did I have here? So I had Shida as my shoot and kayfabe. This is my least confident match, only 1 point of confidence because the build wasn't really good. I didn't know where they were going with this. Shida had beaten Nyla for the title in a really good match at Double or Nothing, but since then Nyla's just been destroying people. Shida's barely been on TV, so I wasn't sure here. Shida's super aggressive, getting the advantage at first. Aubrey won't let Nyla use a table or chairs. Vicky with the kendo stick shot when everyone was not paying attention. Nyla's attacking the knee of Shida here. Shida muscles up a suplex for a 2 count. Nyla with a powerbomb but pulls up Shida. Nyla goes for a running knee and Shida kicks out at 1. We had an avalanche Falcon Arrow and Shida pulls Nyla up at 1, which I thought was pretty interesting. Vicky tries with a distraction. Aubrey takes the kendo stick from Vicky. Nyla sent into Vicky, then the barricades. We get a Falcon Arrow and then a running knee. Nyla kicks out of each, and then she hits another running knee, then several knees to the face, just absolutely destroying Nyla's face, and eventually pins Nyla for the win. So Shida retains. So Vicky is berating Nyla in the ring, slaps her, and Nyla took it. So there's a couple of things here. One, fantastic match. Just I think it would have been better with a better build. So now hopefully this means maybe they'll start to build up the women's division, have some better contenders, have Shida more involved. So there's that. There's Shida pulling up Nyla. So that I think that's fine because it's obviously not a babyface move. But I feel like because of everything that Nyla has done to Shida, I wish there was more of it. So it would have made more sense, not just in the closed universe of the match itself of her doing that. And then also, Vicky slapping Nyla and Nyla taking it. Like, I mean, like, what hold does Vicky have over her? Is Nyla just like, what, I lost, I deserve the slap, like, I gotta be better? Like, interesting to see where they go from here. We then get the AEW tag title match, FTR versus the Young Bucks. I have to rewatch this match. I have to admit, I was a little tired. So I did get a lot of stuff in here, but, like, just from, I know I could tell how good it was, and just from listening and seeing, everything on Twitter about how great it was, and things I definitely need to rewatch to kind of process again, so I'm going to do that. We got kind of like Lakers versus Celtics gear, which I thought was cool. Dax wants to go after Matt's ankle, obviously. Nick taking heat for a while. We get Matt in to assist with some tandem moves, which look really good. Dax injured his hand, but it's not bleeding. He's getting it taken care of by the doc. Nick with the hot tag. He's cleaning house. We get stereo sharpshooters. Matt has to break because of his knee. We get Nick powerbomb on the table on the outside. Mindbreaker on Matt. But he gets his leg on the ropes. We had an inverted figure 4 on Matt by Dax. We get Nick in with the 450 to break up the submission. Cash with a super kick on Nick, and then tries to pull Matt. Trying to pull Matt while he's trying to pull Matt to the corner. Cash makes fun of the too sweet, hits a super kick, and this is where it all falls apart for FTR. Cash then goes for a springboard 450 and misses. No flips, just fists. Well, he went for flip this time, and Matt with the super kick with no boot on for the win. You have your new tag team title holders, the Young Bucks. Obviously, they had said that if they didn't win, they were not going to be able to challenge ever again for the title. So here I had the Bucks for both shooting kayfabe and 8 points of confidence on this. This was my second most confident match. Kenny's out to celebrate. Hangman in the tunnel with the drink, if you see in the background there. So that was interesting, kind of seeing the Elite back together. There were a lot of homages to different tag teams. Obviously, there were some things to even like DIY and their battles during takeovers. This is why I want to rewatch it, kind of see those little, odes to old tag teams and stuff and tag team wrestling. But yeah, it was a fantastic match. So then we next get, which was by far one of the craziest matches, the Elite Deletion, Hardy versus Sammy. So this was definitely a cinematic match at the Hardy compound. Hardy's on the phone asking for someone for help if he needs them. He doesn't think he's going to be alone. So Sammy rolls up in a golf cart that says Spanish God on it. Neo, one, arrives and projects Hardy there. And then Hardy has a monster truck that runs over the golf cart. Sammy's able to get out. Sammy does a moonsault off one of the tires for a 2 count. Just on, falls accounting anywhere. Sammy tries to drown him in a fountain, and we get the Scepter of Mephistopheles. So there were a lot of callbacks to his time from his YouTube channel stuff and TNA. So Excalibur knew what that was. I did not. So they fight to a ring that's set up on the outside. We get a side effect for a 2 count. Sammy hits a powerbomb through a table. Then Ortiz and Santana and Ortiz come out to help him. Hardy radios for Private Party, says that's not water. Private Party's in their car. So Sammy hits a twist of fate. Private Party in for the save. We get Matt shooting Roman candles at the ring at everybody, which I thought was hysterical. Sammy gets one of his own. They start shooting at each other in the trenches, shooting fireworks at one another, which is hysterical. Private Party is taking out Santana Ortiz with Hardy Boys moves. Hardy, so then Sammy runs off back into the forest with Hardy chasing him, just lighting him up with fireworks. It is crazy. Sammy's slipping into mud. Hardy hits another twist of fate, and then all of a sudden we see I think he's going to throw him in the Lake of Reincarnation, but then we see a hooded figure holding the Hurricane, Shane Helms, hostage. He pulls off the mask, and it's fucking Gangrel. Gang fucking Grell is on AEW. This was hysterical. Gangrel says he was one of Sammy's mentors. So Sammy, he lets go of Sammy. Sammy hits a super kick. Helms gets thrown into the lake. He comes back as the reporter from his days in WWE as his alter ego, kind of Clark Kent. Gangrel, Santana Ortiz are fighting back at the ring. Hurricane Helms joins. So Sammy follows Matt into the woods. And then what was the name of the boat? I forget the name of the boat, the rusted out boat. Kind of cuts off them while they run into the dome, and he asks Neo to shut the doors. So now the Dome of Deletion is there, and it's shut and locked. So now they're there. The chair of wheels is there. The piano is there, and there's another ring set up in there. So they start fighting. This is where it gets really brutal. So a music track goes on, and it's great. Sammy's choking Matt with the ring ropes. Sammy then puts Matt on the table that's set up in the ring, goes up in the ladder that's also set up in the ring, hits a swanton, only for a 2 count, and then Matt spears him off the ring into some tables. That was the spot, obviously, from I believe, was it Double or Nothing? I think it was Double or Nothing. That was the spot that injured Matt and basically put a black cloud over that entire match and pretty much the entire pay-per-view. It was All Out, sorry. Sammy gets his back busted up. He's bleeding all over. And then Matt hits him with a chair to the face, like Sammy did. Concerto for the win. Senior Benjamin takes out the trash. We get a Jake Roberts versus Archer promo. Archer beating someone in an alley. Jake is singing a Captain Kangaroo theme. Jake needs to feed him. He's coming after everyone. That's pretty much it. So for the Elite Deletion match, I had 5 points of confidence, both Hardy for shooting kayfabe because I just knew he was going to win it, and it was just so fun. They're celebrating at the end with fireworks and stuff. It's great. We then get MJF versus Jericho. MJF with the mock Jericho debut entrance with the lighted up jacket, which I thought was cool. Jericho slaps instead of a handshake. MJF fakes a dive, pulled out and sent into a barricade. Jericho's using a camera, giving him the finger. Jericho tries a Judas effect, but he Judas effects the post. They're biting each other's fingers at one point. This is one of the fastest I've ever seen Jericho move. He's just hitting like the lion saw. He's doing everything, looking great. He hits a Frankensteiner for a 2 count. The MJF hits the salt of the earth. Jericho fights out for the walls of Jericho. MJF gets to the ropes. Both getting too close to Aubrey. Kind of both trying to use her, and she's just pissed off at them. We get a code breaker and a heat seeker by MJF for a 2 count. MJF misses a lion salt but lands on his feet. Jericho hits a code breaker for a 2 count. Judas Effect caught into the salt of the earth. Jericho gets to the ropes. Wardlow comes out, gives the ring to MJF, distracts Aubrey Edwards. He goes for the punch, misses. Hager's out, throws Floyd the bat to Jericho, and then MJF gives him the fingers, does a flat back bump. Aubrey turns around, sees him with the bat, an ode to Eddie Guerrero. And then while he's trying to, argue with Aubrey, MJF pulls him over, rolls him up with the handful of tights for the win. MJF is in the inner circle. They shake, they hug. Eventually, Chris Jericho welcomes him into the inner circle. We then find out the next pay-per-view is going to be AEW Revolution in February. So clearly they're going to have some big time Dynamite specials in between, because that's just it's about 4 months till the next pay-per-view, and I don't think they're going to stretch out Kenny and Mox, or Mox one, spoiler. They were gonna stretch that out. Orange Cassidy backstage interview. Miro and Kip show up. Kip wants an apology for putting Penelope in harm's way. He apologizes, but Kip says that it's not good enough and slaps him. He says it's cool, and leaves. And Kip and Miro kind of, don't understand what they're doing there. We then get our main event, an I Quit match. That I have. So MJF and I had both shooting kayfabe and 4 points of confidence on that one. Mox in the I Quit match for the AEW title. That I had 7 points of confidence on Mox. So Eddie's looking like the Green Ranger with his gear. You can tell how personal this is with the chops and the slaps and how just intense it looks. Suplex by Mox on the concrete. Eddie bites out of a bulldog choke. Mox is busted open, but gets barbed wire bat, starts hitting Eddie several times with it, puts the bat across Eddie's face to open him up. We get chair shots and then throws a chair from Eddie. Eddie wraps the barbed wires on his fist and lays into Mox, hits the back fist with the wire, then puts him in the Kimura. Mox bites to get out of it. You hear Tony Schiavone, what the hell are we watching here? So that was pretty funny. Suplex by Mox onto chairs. Eddie set up, so he's hoisted on his own petard, as they like to say. Eddie brings in a bag of thumbtacks, belly to back by Eddie onto the tacks. So Mox has tacks up in his back. Eddie's stomping on Mox's balls, rubbing alcohol into the ring. Eddie dumps it on his back, so that looked gruesome. Goes for the bulldog choke, Eddie does. Then a pile driver, then another bulldog choke by Moxley. Hits the paradigm shift. The bulldog choke again with the barbed wire. Rensburg is pleading with him. Finally, Eddie says, I quit. Eddie doesn't want his help. Gets out of the ring. Mox is celebrating. He's still the AEW champion. Kenny comes out just to give a little face-to-face. They talk a little bit of shit to each other. He leaves to let Mox celebrate. And there you have it. That was AEW. Full Gear. What a fantastic pay-per-view. I mean, it paced very well. Just no bad matches on it. This was one of the probably the best pay-per-view I've seen from AEW yet, and they've been putting on some bangers. Obviously, All Out was there were a lot of issues with it, but this was awesome. As always, I do my match of the night. This one was very tough. Because my most entertaining match was definitely the Elite Deletion, but I think it has to be Kenny versus Hangman. Just the build up to it, the absolute just beating of the shit out of each other that they got, and just it could have gone either way, and that ending, trying to fight out of that one wing angel by Hangman, just fighting, but he just couldn't do it, and nobody kicks out of the one wing angel. It was just fantastic, setting up a really interesting now kind of rematch between Kenny and Mox, now with the title on the line. So there you have it. As always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment. Social media is down there. Also on the audio. I am exhausted. Gonna rewatch that tag match though. It's been a very long and very trying week for a lot of people. No matter where you land, anywhere, just in general, a lot's been going on. Hopefully, wrestling in general can bring you some entertainment while we try to figure things out. So as always, be safe, love each other, and bye now.